I wish I had 3 hours, actually. I would like 3 hours today, but I really only have a little less than 1 hour, so I have to talk fast. It's a bummer. I want to talk about the impeachment tornado in Washington. And I have tornado in the mind, because I'll remind you, we had a tornado that hit Dallas, where I live, right here in Dallas, this past Sunday night, literally hit my neighborhood. We're ground zero for a tornado hitting the ground. So we are living in a bit of a mess where we live right now. So I got tornadoes on the mind. But what's happening in Washington is astonishing determination of the American left to simply remove President Trump, not because of anything he ever said or ever did, but because they are outraged that he actually won the election, that the American people had the audacity to choose President Trump over Hillary Clinton. This is the single reason the Democrats are trying to remove President Trump through the impeachment process. I want to just fill you in on a couple of little details of things ongoing today, but in the larger picture, I want to say in this impeachment saga unfolding in Washington, President Trump made reference to the impeachment as a lynching. Immediately, the politically correct police were on their toes, outraged on the airwaves, tweeting out and writing articles. This is so offensive. This is so outrageous. He used a terrible word that conjures up images of terrible things that happened in the South. Yes, lynchings of Black Americans was a horrible, horrible thing in America, in the South, in the era of the Democrat-controlled Jim Crow laws, the Democrat-controlled KKK, the Democrat created and controlled entities that were horrible, are horrible, run by, created by, fulfilled by the Democrat Party. Having said that, lynchings are horrible. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to use that word. And when you're President Trump and you are being attacked every day for everything you do by everyone on the American left, frankly, the media going along with them, and on top of that, many Republicans sitting on their hands, whistling in the wind, ignoring it, or even behind the scenes, as we'll get to Mitt Romney later in the show, helping the lynching occur. There's nothing wrong with using that word, and the politically correct American left trying to say he's not allowed to say that. Yes, he is, actually. What is happening to him is outrageous. But quick things that happen in Washington, just to keep you posted. So, we have the Democrats taking on this impeachment inquiry. It's not an impeachment. It's not a real impeachment process. It is the Democrats avoiding the floor vote in the House, going for their impeachment inquiry. And the idea of it is they want to push the whole thing forward in secrecy, in secret hearings, secret depositions, secret testimonies, not just secret from you, the American people, which would be bad enough. The idea that they want to remove the president you chose in accordance with a proceeding where you can't even see what they're learning. You can't even find out what questions they're asking. Who are they asking? What are the person saying? So the only thing the Democrats are willing to have you do is understand the leaks, the information they put out, chosen little cherry-picked segments of testimony, and that's supposed to be good enough for you. Bad enough they're doing that to the American people. They are doing it to elected Republicans. The Democrats in Washington are saying elected Republicans, your members in the U.S. House of Representatives, cannot be privy to what the Democrats are doing, trying to take down your president. So today, we actually had a bit of a kerfuffle, or a bit of an incident in Washington, which was a good thing. But Republican members of the House Armed Services Committee, attempted to attend a hearing put on, a secret private hearing put on by the House Intelligence Committee, that being chaired by the Adam Schiff guy we talked about so much, the guy with the crazy eyes, Adam Schiff, the one who made up the content of a phone call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky, like just made up stuff. And when the real transcript was released, sounding nothing like what Schiff read to the American people and probably fooled American people with, no apology, no, yeah, that was a little tacky, none of that. But Adam Schiff, House Intelligence Committee chair, trying to hold a hearing. His witness, the reason that these people actually came into the hearing room was that the House Armed Services Committee people said, hey, this hearing is within our jurisdiction. The witness was the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, Laura Cooper, who they say, hey, she's kind of under the Armed Services Committee jurisdiction. to be clear, these Republicans didn't come in and disrupt. They didn't come in and demand that the hearing end. They didn't come in and say, we demand. They just wanted to enter the room where this impeachment proceeding is going on with a witness who falls under their jurisdiction. The House, Adam Schiff and his House Intelligence Committee people won't even let these other committee members in. So when these Republican members of the House Armed Services Committee came in, Adam Schiff stands up, grabs the witness, Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Laura Cooper, and leaves the room, saying basically, you can't be here. You can't even hear this testimony. I'm going to tell you why Adam Schiff is very, very nervous having people hearing the way he was conducting that deposition. It has a lot to do with the way he conducted his inquisition against Kurt Volker, which I'll get to in a moment. Other thing I'll quickly tell you happened in Washington today. The House Republicans, a group of them, actually called a press conference to call attention to the American people, to the press, saying this is outrageous. This is an impeachment hearing trying to take out the sitting president. Republicans are not even allowed in the hearing room. They're not even allowed to read the deposition testimony. I mean, depositions, they transcribe. You sit there, go back and forth. Someone's transcribing. There's a transcript. You should be able to read it. House Republicans not allowed to do it. You can't see it. Sorry, can't see it. This is so anti-American. Trump is right to call it a lynching. He's right to call it witch hunt. Isn't even strong enough. These people are holding their Star Chamber secret meetings, digging up anything they can do to possibly make Trump look bad, give them some grounds for this impeachment, which has nothing to do with anything Trump has ever said or done, has everything to do with them simply wanting to remove him before he dares to win the presidential election again in 2020. Two last things on this story I have to get out with you. One is the story came out, and this is so exactly what you would think would happen. Adam Schiff, House Intelligence Committee chair, was reported to have pressured this witness we've been talking about, the U.S. Special Representative to the Ukraine named Kurt Volker. He was one of the ace in the hole the Democrats thought they had. They thought Kurt Volker was going to come in and back them up, saying essentially that Trump had done something really, really bad in the Ukraine or with the Ukrainians or in conversation with the Ukrainians, somehow threatened to hold back aid, or we won't give you aid unless you do this, unless you investigate Burisma again or investigate Biden again. But they thought they had Kurt Volker to do that. Volker showed up in this Star Chamber secret testimony thing that the Democrats are doing. And the problem that Adam Schiff had was Volker won't give him what he wants. Volker does not agree with this fabrication the Democrats have concocted to use as a reason to take Trump out. So Volker at one point is trying to answer the questions. He's being asked questions by Schiff. Volker, the U.S. representative in Ukraine, special representative, is trying to answer. And Schiff is getting more and more and more angry, basically because he cannot believe he can't force Volker to say something he doesn't want to say. That's why Schiff was getting mad. At one point, Schiff burst out with, "Ambassador, you're making this much more complicated than it has to be." He's arguing with him, don't give me these stupid factual answers, say what I want you to say. So the central allegation Democrats have against Trump, they're claiming he's guilty of engaging in a quid pro quo with the Ukraine, is essentially instructing them to investigate Biden or we withhold aid in exchange for U.S. military support. There's a lengthy exchange of Schiff said, Volker said, Schiff said, Volker said in one article in Daily Wire. It's up on our website, americacanwetalk.org. If you go to the website, go to the homepage, under shows, scroll down, list of links, you'll find this article. It is entitled, "Schiff Pressured Witness to Say Trump Pressured Ukraine to Investigate Biden," report says. So bottom line is Schiff is getting angry, frustrated, outraged because he can't make witnesses say stuff he wants them to say. And the Republicans who are allowed by dictator Schiff to attend these hearings are saying afterwards, and they keep saying it and saying it, nothing anybody has said in all these secret hearings and secret depositions is in any way proof of or even allegation of the idea that there was a quid pro quo, that Trump's saying to them, investigate Burisma and Biden or else something that will withhold money, will withhold military aid. The point of this is to get at is you have to understand the window this is giving America on the radical determination of the left in this country to take out Trump. And I want to say something else about who and what Trump is. On this program, I talk every week, every day I talk about, 4 days a week, every day I talk about the idea. My show is dedicated to preserving America, the most extraordinary experiment in human liberty ever to bless this earth, ever. And President Trump, the reason, people on the left don't like his hairstyle, they don't like his brash manner, they don't like his boldness, they disagree with his policies, whatever. What Trump is bringing out in America, the spirit of love this country, respect the greatness, the unique greatness of America, recognize America's greatness. This is why people show up at the Trump rallies exuberantly happy. They can't wait to get there, wave their flag, loving on their country. This is contrary to the left-wing mission in this political cycle, in the 2020 election cycle, and frankly, for decades leading up to now. The American left runs every single time on the national stage. They're members of Congress, members of the Senate, even for president. They run on the platform in one way or another of America is a really bad place. America shouldn't be doing mean things like getting out of the UN Human Rights Council. America shouldn't be strong. America, we ought to be willing to sign on to treaties with the UN that give away all our money, that are part of the alleged climate change disaster, which is not proven true. The facts don't back it up. But hey, the left tries very hard to tear down America, to tear down the people in our country, our faith in, our love in this country. The American left, even what you're seeing them demonstrate now in Washington, D.C., in dealing with President Trump and the impeachment inquiry, they're not trying to figure out whether Trump committed a crime that rises to the level of justifying impeachment. It is in the same way in the Mueller investigation, was not trying to get at the truth of whether or not Trump-Russia collusion occurred. The Mueller team was about finding a way to vilify President Trump, to find some hook, some alleged proof that Trump and the Russians colluded, and then to use that to delegitimize the president. And the same thing is happening in this impeachment inquiry. The left is looking for anything to take this president down. His strength he brought to the White House, the strength he brought to America, when he's actually willing to say, we're going to drain the swamp, we're going to reduce the power of the federal government, we're going to get people out of Washington who have made their livelihoods for decades up here, taking control of this country, growing the power and scope and size of the federal government, diminishing America's freedom, benefiting privately, personally from America's foreign policy. We're going to get rid of the people who are trying to say the American economy can never come back, jobs in America can't come back, everyone's got to be happy with welfare, everyone's got to be happy but shipping off all of our manufacturing overseas. All of this love of America Trump brought to the fore in his election in 2016, every bit of it makes the left crazy. They do not want you to love America. They want you to see America as a deeply flawed place, which only can be corrected by giving the left more and more and more power to control speech, to control religion, to control freedom, to control the education, to abandon our borders. You have to see this 2020 election, people. It is so monumental for the future of America. You have one side, Donald Trump, sadly, often standing alone or with a small cadre of supporters, and the leftists and their media allies working very hard to in some way diminish him. That's what's really happening in this impeachment inquiry. These people are driven out of their minds by the idea that Trump has made it popular again to be patriotic, to love America, to love freedom, to hate socialism, to want strong borders, to want to have a border policy and an immigration policy that actually benefits the economy and the welfare of the American people. These are ideas that make the left out of their mind. This is why you're seeing this fervor in this impeachment inquiry. And you see people on the left just determined to impeach him. And when you press why, they don't even know. They just have been driven into a frenzy by the leftists in this country trying to paint Trump into some bad guy that he is not. But I'm telling you, folks, even bigger picture about what Trump brought back to the fore in America, you know, and I want to say this other thing before I turn to my next story, this other point about this whole story about impeachment. We are truly on a dangerous course in this time when we have the American left going after the President of the United States on a purely because we hate him political mission to take him out. This was one of the many things the founders tried to protect America against. They tried to protect America from a small, just cadre, a small cabal of power-seeking people. In this era, it is the Democrat Party, the cabal that runs that party, the cabal that pushes socialism. The founders were trying to protect America from having that kind of powerful takeover. What you're watching in Washington, this impeachment inquiry, is the left saying, we don't care about the Constitution. We won't follow the Constitution. We don't care whether there's any basis at all to investigate this president. We don't care that the Mueller investigation, after millions of dollars and hundreds of subpoenas and thousands of hours of depositions, prove there's absolutely no proof at all of this Trump-Russia collusion hoax. They don't care that that is true. This is a left-wing America out of their minds that they're actually on the pathway to losing power. That the American people have regained the spirit of love of America, love of freedom, passion for standing up. And the left sees this as President Trump having instilled so much of this in the American people, this rising up of patriotism. They've come to positions where they can't stand the idea, the left cannot stand the idea of hearing Americans loving freedom, wanting and loving America and loving freedom and free markets. They can't believe that their effort to push America further and further and further to the left has gotten us to a place where the Democrats thought they had America almost over the cliff to socialism after Obama. They almost had us there, and President Trump is pulling the country. And not just President Trump. Let me be clear about this, because sometime, obviously, America will go on after President Trump is done his second term. America will go on. There will still be America. The question is, are there enough patriots in this country who recognize the importance, the value of what President Trump brought to the fore, exposed to the American people in the 2016 election cycle? Will there be enough freedom fighters left? Will there be enough freedom fighters in this country who are going to say, even after Trump is done, I stand for the principles upon which America was founded. I stand for human liberty. I stand for freedom of religion. I stand for freedom of speech. I stand for secure borders and sovereignty in America. I stand for prosperity and free markets and not socialism. I stand for limited government and getting the federal government out of a stranglehold control it has over the American economy and American businesses. Trump has really emboldened and just invigorated the American population's, renewed the American population's love of freedom. And if you're a big Trump supporter, which I obviously am, it is not enough just to support President Trump. We have to be sure we get the ideas he's standing up for, and we recognize those ideas are what's really under assault from the American left. They do not like freedom. They do not like freedom of religion. They do not like free markets. The left has gone in this country, and I don't just mean Bernie and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean the cabal that runs the Democrat Party. I mean the leftist institutions in this country that have just steamrolled over the idea that America is a country rooted in freedom, that America has a place in this world to be the one to stand up for freedom, to stand up for the idea that people everywhere have the right to live in freedom. It's a monumental election in 2020, and the Democrats see that. So back to and wrapping up my little impeachment story here today. The battle over impeachment is not really what precisely exactly President Trump said or conveyed to the Ukraine, President Zelensky, is not just whether somebody connected with the American government will say something bad about the way President Trump interacted with the Ukraine. This is just the pretext. This is just the excuse to get rid of him. What the left is trying to do in taking President Trump out of office, and that's what they are bound and determined to do that. What they're trying to do is squelch this revolution, this renewal of the love of liberty in America. They liked when President Obama's policies essentially destroyed and attacked free markets, that we had a growing, powerful federal government through the EPA and the Department of Labor and other federal entities clamp down on industries of all kinds, strangle the idea that you have the right to live in liberty, that you should have private enterprise bursting and creating jobs and creating self-reliant Americans. Dependency on the government through programs like food stamps and many other programs increased under President Obama because this is the mission of the American left: to weaken the American spirit, to weaken the spirit of liberty, to weaken the idea that each of us have a God-given right to live in freedom, that we're capable of self-reliance. The left hates those ideas. President Trump has reinvigorated these ideas. The impeachment is about not just removing President Trump. It is squashing the love of America that he has regenerated, he has rejuvenated, he has re-energized in the American population. Standing up for President Trump is wonderful and important and good. I do it every day. But understand, even when he's long gone, the ideas that he has reinvigorated America to think about are ideas each of us have to realize they are the reason America is America. They are the reason America is America. You can have the same blob of dirt on the planet Earth called United States, but if we abandon the ideas we're founded on, it's really not America anymore. Where the left would take us is a not America place, and we don't want to go there.